Colleagues, good morning. I'm sure you've heard by now what happened here at Cape Town train station. I've been on the phone since this morning, with various stakeholders, because I still cannot believe that we cannot catch people who are doing this thing. Obviously, this is a syndicate. There is no way that people who are doing these things are not known. I mean, this is now my third visit the Cape Town train station since I was appointed in May this year. Surely we need intelligence to help us to deal with this thing. But the second thing that we need, we really need cooperation between the provincial government and national government. I mean, for us to be territorial about this, it's not going to help us. I think from day one when I was appointed, I made it very clear that even though the provincial government does not have operational control of rail, I want to work very closely with the national minister and the national department so that we can really deal with this. And one of the things that is frustrating for me is that cooperation is really not forthcoming. Since this morning, I've been on the phone with various people. I'm here with my DDG. There was a communication with PRASA, but when I arrived here, I'm suddenly told that no one from PRASA is here because for some reason they are waiting for the national minister. I don't see anything wrong with the national minister coming here because, of course, he's the one who's got operational control over this. But I cannot put my program on hold and wait until whatever time that the minister will be coming here to come and see for myself. Because even though it's the national government that has operational control over this, the people of the Western Cape are the ones who are getting affected. And they want answers from me because, quite frankly, people do not understand and they don't care who has operational control. They don't understand this issue of jurisdiction between different spheres of government. They just want answers from us as government officials. And I'm doing everything I can within, my limited powers to work with the national government, to work with PRASA so that we can really provide answers to the people who are affected. That is what we need to do. So that is why I'm here this morning. And then immediately after this media briefing, I want to make a visit inside. But obviously, I need PRASA to be here so that I can get a briefing of what is happening. So we really need to make sure that we get to the bottom of this. The National Department of Transport, my department, PRASA, the City of Cape Town, the law enforcement agencies, all of us must work together to get to the bottom of this. We were expecting, of course, new trains, to come on board now because this thing has been ongoing for some time. You know that we lost, 38% of the passengers over the last few years. And we're expecting now more trains, to come on board and this thing happens. And, it is very clear that there's a syndicate here. And people know that there are new trains that are coming. And immediately something like this happens. Surely, if we have an effective law enforcement agencies and, of course, the intelligence, we would have caught these people a long time ago. And would have cut the umbilical cord of these people so that we can make sure that our passengers, are not affected by this, every time this thing happens. So it is really, really very, very serious. And immediately after this, I will be really requesting a meeting so that all the stakeholders that I spoke about now, we can really put our heads together and find a solution for God's sake. It doesn't matter who's got operational control. All of us need to find a solution to this.
Minister, sorry, you were speaking about, I know that you said you got limited jurisdiction because it's a national issue, but what can you be done? Because as you said, the problem lies in the province. So what can be done and what can you do to try and help the situation? Because
look, you are aware that one of the things that my department did, together with the City of Cape Town, in partnership with the National Department, we put together this rail enforcement unit. And that's one aspect where we are trying to assist to make sure that we deal with the safety. But over and above that, you need the railway police. And you need to make sure that there's an intelligence that must stop this thing. But also we need to improve the infrastructure. And that can only happen if there's a very close cooperation and working, relationship between both spheres. And as I said, from day one, that is what I want to do. I'm going to work damn hard to make sure that we get this right, because intergovernmental relations is very, very important for us to get this right. So as I said, it's not going to help me to keep on blaming national government. That's not my intention, because it's not helping the citizens of the Western Cape who are affected, who want answers from me. So blaming each other is not a solution on this. What we need to do is to make sure that we work together. And I'm going to push for that and make sure that those people who are territorial understand that this affects all of us. Not just them who have operational control. So we shouldn't be territorial about this.
What do you think is the motive behind this constant burning of trains and vandalism? And who do you think stands to benefit from it?
Well, obviously there is a motive, but one thing I will not do is to speculate, because we expect the law enforcement agency to do their work and tell us what is behind this. That is why I'm saying it is really disappointing, because you cannot have a situation where this thing happen all the time. I mean, surely we should have intelligence by now that is able to tell us what is happening. So it is very dangerous then to speculate. So I don't want to go there. What we need to do is to really get proper investigation and find out who's doing this so that we can deal with them.
Would you like to take over the running of the trains in the Western Cape?
No, absolutely. I mean, you remember that when we were campaigning before the May election, it's one of the things that we wanted. But obviously, I don't want to politicize this thing. And I think people need to understand why I'm here. I don't want... The elections have come and gone, okay? That has not happened, because that was going to happen only if we won national, elections, and that didn't happen. Now, what we need now, all of us, different spheres of government, different stakeholders, is to work together and get to the bottom of this. So I want us really to take politics out of it.
In terms of the security here at the Cape Town station, how it could be so loose, they cannot see people bending these trains.
But that's exactly... what is frustrating here? I mean, that's exactly part of the reason for my visit here this morning. We have this, rail enforcement unit, but also we have law enforcement agencies like your SAPS. It is very important for us to really get all the information and understand why we are unable to apprehend these people, so that if we need to beef up the security, we get appraised with that, so that we can put measures in place to do exactly that. And I'm committed, to do that. But what we are seeing here is what we are seeing across the province, where there is no intelligence whatsoever, and also the work that the police is doing, leaves much to be desired. So this is what we are seeing across the province. And that is why the Premier of the Western Cape, launched this campaign, of making sure that there are additional 3,000 law enforcement agencies. You might have heard the Minister of Finance on Tuesday, when he delivered his medium-term budget policy statement, the budget has been put aside now to have additional 1,000 for the first financial year. But ultimately, you really need boots on the ground. You need more people so that we can deal with this thing.
Aaron Neyman, Sunday Times. Obviously, the city and the province has a bit of capability in terms of the SIU and other law enforcement capabilities. Have you been approached in the previous two burnings and in this one to help them to understand what's going on and to help them to investigate and get to the bottom of it and catch the perpetrators?
Well, as I said, and I think the biggest problem here is that some of us are territorial. We want to flex our muscles and say, this is our baby. This is a problem for all of us. If all of us can just understand that we will not solve this problem if we work in silos. We need to work together, respect each other's role and responsibility in this thing so that we can get to the bottom of this.
So they haven't brought you in
No.
to assist?
So, are you planning to meet Minister Mbaruka, as he has already planned that he will be visiting the train station today?
You know, as I said, that from day one, I committed myself to work very closely with Minister Mbalula. There are many instances where I've requested to meet Minister Mbalula for various other issues that we are grappling with. And Go George is one example. I mean, you will remember that when we went to George, myself and him, we promised the people of that area that we'll be back there in 45 days. And surely because I respect the issue of intergovernmental relations and cooperative governance, I cannot go back there alone. And I've been waiting on him since then. So it is really frustrating for me, and I need to make this point very clear, that I am very much committed to work with national government, to work with Minister Mbalula, but you know, sometimes it's really frustrating. So, as I said, immediately after this, I will be writing to him so that we can have a meeting and deal with this and many other outstanding issues that we need to deal with.
But he'll be here at 2 o'clock today. Will you be meeting him?
Well, I will be in Parliament, unfortunately, at 2. You might be aware, as I said, that on Tuesday, our Provincial Minister of Finance delivered his medium-term budget policy statement, and today we are debating that. I'm participating in that debate, and obviously I will find out when is he going back, because I really want to meet him before he goes back.
You were talking about the rail enforcement unit. Were they not on duty at the time this happened?
Well, they were on duty, but the rail enforcement unit is spread across, but they are focusing more on the northern line. And this happened on the central line, and that is why, if we believe that the personnel that we have in terms of that rail enforcement unit is not enough, that's one of the conversations that we need to have, so that we can spread it across, so that we can have more members, you know, of rail enforcement unit if needs be. But we need to have that conversation with PRASA and the National Department so that we can, you know, make sure that we increase the capacity of that unit.
And of course CCTV cameras as well.
But again, I mean, if you do have CCTV cameras, and you are able to identify the perpetrators, why we haven't caught them? These are questions that are really surprising. And quite frankly, I do not believe that our intelligence do not know the people who are behind us.
Do you think this is part of a plan to make the Western Cape ungovernable?
Again, I don't want to speculate, but that statement was made before, and I find it ironic that it seemed to be happening in the Western Cape only. You know, it's not something that is happening in other areas. You know, so almost believe that statement when you see these things.
So you're saying that this is political, Minister? Does it seem political? You're saying it's only happening in the Western Cape?
No, I'm saying it's strange. But as I said from the word go that I don't want to speculate. But of course, statements like that were made before. People who wanted to make Western Cape ungovernable. But I want us to deal with facts. And the only way for us to get to the bottom of this is to really apprehend these people. I mean, as I've said, I cannot believe that up until now, we do not know who's doing this, who's behind this, because this thing has been happening, for a very long time. Surely, our law enforcement agency, especially our intelligence, should have apprehended these people.
Bongikosi Matikizela, the MEC for Transport and Public Works in the Western Cape, addressing the media at the Cape Town Central Station following the setting on fire of some carriages in the early hours of this morning. They're calling for action and say he's wondering why until now nobody has ever been caught, so to speak, and brought to book and face the music in court for setting trains on fire on the Central Line in Cape Town. And earlier he was asking for all stakeholders who are relevant, like the police, like the National Transport Department, his own department and others, to work together